5-point harness. Grandpa, get your ID. Shortly, because ladies and gentlemen, it is showtime.
You're listening to the Dirt Racing Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the show. We'll have a World of Outlaws game review. Ben Shelton will be back on to talk some things. Bill Wright will be on to review Sprint Invaders in Knoxville. So let's get this program going. We'll start with results from the last two Sprint Invader races with 34 first. The Lee County one was rained out. Heat race number 1. The winner was Chase Randall, car number 9. Second, the 5D of Zach Dahm. Third, the 27 of Carson McCarl. Fourth, the 8L Tom Lenz. Fifth, the 7 of Tyler Lee. Sixth, the 24 Terry McCarl. Seventh, the 35 Jamie Ball. Eighth, the 14J Mike Johnson. And ninth, the 02S Josh Jones. And 10th, the 40 of Cody Worley. Heat race 2 went to Colton Fisher in the car number 11. Second, the 4 of Evan Martin, the 4M. Third was the 4 Cam Martin. Fourth, the 2M of Davey Haskin. Fifth, the McLean Richards in 31. Sixth, the 14M Randy Martin. Seventh, 24N and 8 Mills. Eighth, the 81 Trevor Gebhardt. Ninth, the 5M McCollum Oil. And 10th, the 78 of Dugan T. Heat race number 3 went to the 45 Marty Ferreira. Second was the 99 Brett Triplett. Third was the 4X Chase Richards. Fourth, the 22 of Riley Goodnow. Fifth to 53 Joe Beaver. Sixth to 51 J Ryan Jamison. Seventh to 14 of Aiden Zoot. These cars did not start credited with 8th the 29 W Wyatt Wilkerson and 9th the 75 of Glenn Saville. Heat race number 4. Your winner was the 44 Chris Martin. Second, the 50 of Paul Nieheiser. Third, the 21 of Devin Wignall. Fourth, the 23 of Devin Dobie. Fifth, the 24 of Garrett Williamson. There, Luke Venardi in the 28 was 6th. 7th, the 2A of Austin Archdale. 8th, the 357 of Ryan Edwards. And 9th, the 5A of Alex Vandervoort. B-Main only took the top 5 finishers directly to the A. Your winner was Joe Beaver. Second, Tyler Lee. Third, Nate Mills. Fourth, Luke Venardi. And fifth, Cody Worley. They're followed by 6th, Alexander Vort. 7th, Jamie Ball. 8th, Mike Johnson. 9th, Tanner Gebhardt. 10th, Dugan T. 11th, McLean Richards. 12th, Colin Moyle. 13th, Wyatt Wilkerson. 14th, Josh Jones. 15th, Aiden Zoo. 16th, Austin Archdale. 17th, Ryan Edwards. And did not start but credited with 18th was Glenn Saville. In the shakeup dash, your winner was Chase Randall. Second, Brett Triplett. Third, Carson McCarl. Fourth, Chris Martin. Fifth, Paul Nieheiser. Sixth, Davey Heskins. Seventh, Colton Fisher. Eighth, to Marty Ferreira. And then they did the Terry Jamison Memorial Dash for the top 8 point cars on owner points. Your winner was Paul Nieheiser. Second, Tanner Gebhardt. Third, Devin Wignall. Fourth, Jamie Ball. Fifth, Colton Fisher. Did not start. Dugan T. Would be credited with 6th. 7th, Ryan Jamison. And 8th, Cody Worley. In the A main, it was Chase Randall, your winner. Second, Garrett Williamson. Third, Chris Martin. Fourth, Zach Dahm. 5th, Brett Triplett. 6th, Riley Goodnow. 7th, Colton Fisher. 8th, Luke Bernardi. 9th, Jamie Ball. 10th, Evan Martin. 11th, Marty Ferreira. 12th, Cam Martin. 13th, Devin Wignall. 14th, Carson McCarl. 15th, Ryan Jamison. 16th, Paul Nieheiser. 17th was Davey Haskin. 18th, Chase Richards. 19th, Devin Dobie. 20th, Terry McCarl. 21st, Joe Beaver. 22nd, Tyler Lee. 23rd, Nate Mills. 24th, Cody Worley. And 25th, Randy Martin. Did not start was the 8L Tom Lenz. Nieheiser led 1 through 7. Randall led 8 through 30. The $500 Roberts tire and Premier powder coating plus the $75 hard charger was Jamie Ball. The $150 for 7th place was Colton Fisher from the Todd Tager family. The Double J Smokestack mystery spot was $100, went to Riley Goodnow, and Tyler Lee got the $50 Sempico mystery spot. Also, the Tough Draw Award of $50 went to Dugan T. Heat race winners all got $100, which was Chase Randall, Colton Fisher, Marty Ferrer, and Chris Martin. They were by Farney's Dive Bar, $100. The longest tow by Maxim at GRC was to Devin Dobie at Waukenepa, Ohio. Well, that's $150. The highest finishing Maxim was Garrett Williamson. Contingencies, DMI Chase Richards, and Saldana was Cody Worley. That was the first the night before the championship. Championship night went over to the Adams County Speedway in Illinois, in Quincy, Illinois. Heat race 1 went to the 24 Garrett Williamson. Second, the 44 Chris Martin. Third, the 22 Riley Goodnow. Fourth, the 0 Jake Griffin. Sixth, the 11 Colton Fisher. Fifth, Seventh was Tanner Gebhardt in 81. Eighth, the 31 McLean Richards. The 5A of Alex Vandervoort was eighth. The ninth, Luke Bernardi. Heat race number 2 went to Paul Nieheiser. In the 52nd, Austin Archdale. In the 2A. Third, the 4X Chase Richards. Jamie Ball in the 35 was 4th. 5th, the 45 Marty Ferreira. Dugan T in 78 was 6th. 7th, the 02S Josh Jones. And 8th was Tyler Lee in the 7. Heat race number 3 went to Chase Randall in the 9. The 50 5D is Zach Dom. The 40 Cody Worley was 3rd. 4th, the 21 Devin Wignall. The JR1 of Steven Russell was 5th. 6th was the 22S Slater Health. 7th, the 99 of Brett Triplett. And 8th, the 4 Cam Martin. In the B main, Steven Russell, your winner. 2nd, Dugan T. 3rd, Brett Triplett. 4th and final transfer was Cam Martin. 5th was Tyler Lee. 6th, Luke Bernardi. 7th, Josh Jones. 8th, McLean Richards. And did not start, but credited with 9th was Alex Vandervoort. In the shakeup dash, Paul Nieheiser was your winner. 2nd, Chase Randall. 3rd, Riley Goodnow. 4th, Garrett Williamson. 5th, Chris Martin. And 6th, Austin Archdale. In the feature, it was Garrett Williamson, your winner. 2nd, Paul Nieheiser. 3rd, Zach Dom. 4th, Chris Martin. 5th, Chase Randall. 6th, Marty Ferreira. 7th, Jamie Ball. 8th, Brett Triplett. 9th, Colton Fisher. 10th, Cody Worley. 11th, Jake Griffin. 12th, Tanner Gebhardt. 13th, Slater Help. 14th, Dugan T. 15th, Devin Wignall. 16th, Stephen Russell. 17th, Austin Archdale. 18th, Cam Martin. 19th, Chase Richards. 20th was Riley Goodnow. Williamson led 1 through 7. Randall led 8 and 9. Williamson 10 through 25. The hard charger went to Triplet of $75, and the $50 Sampico mystery spot went to Cam Martin. Contingencies went to Colton Fisher DMI. Saldana was Tanner Gebhardt. The Brown and Miller Racing Solutions High Point Man was Paul Nieheiser. And your champion, your car owner champion, the 50 of Scott Bonar and Cody Worley was the championship, was the driver's champion. Welcome back to the show, Ben. How's it now? I30 time and the sad on I30.
Yeah, it is tough for me to say goodbye to I30 Speedway. Short track nationals. That's one of the places I got my start. It's only about 2.5 hours from me, which is about as close as I get to home all year. So it always felt like a home game when I got to go there. And things changed, and I understand it was time for it to go away, but it was very tough, man. A lot of great memories there. I love bull ring racing. I saw a great late model, great sprint car, great stock car, great modifieds, everything there. So it's kind of, we talked about Rick Eshelman earlier. It's the same way with I30. It's hard to believe for me that place is no longer going to be there.
I know it was tough for Flo to leave the other night. They stayed on for a while and just watched people going around the track getting their last in.
Yeah, I mean, it was the end of an era. It was the end of an era for all of us, and so many of us took a final lap around the place, and my wife and I got to do that, and I'm very thankful for that, and I'm glad she was there to be with me. Like I said, it's one of the places my career began, and I don't think my career is over by any stretch of the imagination, but definitely a chapter of it closed when Saturday night's feature came to an end.
I know I was crying by the end when Sam Hazen talked.
Yeah, it was very emotional for Sam. That place has been a lot to Sam. He got his second Comp Cam Short Track Nationals title. Reitzel wanted it really bad. He had nose damage late in the race on his nose wing, or it might have been a photo finish, who knows. But everybody wanted to win the final one, and Sam's like me. That place meant a lot to his career. So for so many of us, it meant a lot. So it's been a very emotional past week from Rick Eshelman's untimely passing to, saying goodbye to I30. Again, as you get older, things change in life, but it doesn't make them easy. It's hard. It's hard to process sometimes. It's been a very emotional time for a lot of us over the past week.
Speaking of, there was a lot of good car count.
Oh, we were very happy. We ended up with 89 drivers and entered at least one night. The final night of the event, ironically, had the highest car count of the week, which doesn't always happen on an event where it's cumulative points throughout the week. We had 87 cars on the final night. And I think, again, it goes back to everybody wanted to be part of the final night. And there was a lot of guys there that had never raced there. And they just wanted to say they raced I30 and be part of it. And that definitely made it very special. And it was, to my knowledge, was the biggest crowd in the history of the place Saturday night too. So I think we sent the old girl off in fine style.
I know at least somebody else that was down there was Bill Wright. Did you run into him?
I did run into Bill. Very first day, he was down the pit area, and anytime Bill sees me in a sprint car race, he gives me some grief because he goes, "Hey man, there's no late models here." But the reality is, I grew up on sprint cars. I grew up in Memphis. I grew up watching Jeff and Sammy Swindell and Bobby Davis Jr. and Greg Hodnett and Lee Brewer Jr. and Terry Gray, a lot of great sprint car drivers. I was very lucky. They're from my hometown. I got to watch them. So, late model world has been very good to me, but sprint cars will always mean a lot. And again, Short Track Nationals was the third big race I'd ever announced. So, it was just something that I wouldn't have missed for anything in the world.
And then this week you had the big Flow Night in America again.
Yeah, we had last week. We were at Atomic Speedway up in Ohio, and Bobby Pierce got the win. And gearing up this coming week, Thursday night, we're gonna the biggest race in the history of Tri County Speedway, North Carolina. We've got that coming up, and weather looks great. And then next week we're at 411 Motor Speedway there in Seymour, Tennessee, outside of Gatlinburg, and weather, knock on wood's looking great on it. So just thankful to get all these races in and have fantastic weather for them, and what looks like it's going to be great fields.
And then I want to go back earlier in the year. How was your Marshalltown experience?
I loved it. I'd never been there, and had Marshalltown on the bucket list for a long time. We had a hell of a race there. I mean, Hudson O'Neill gets the win, and he had to fight off some strong competitors, and it was a great crowd. And of course, the street stocks and modifieds were fantastic, as you'd expect there. And really looking forward. We're already making plans to take Castrol Florida Racing Night in America back there in 2023.
And then unfortunately, the other track they was supposed to go to in 34 got because of tires.
Yeah, just that time of year, man, tires were hard to come by, and we didn't want to go there and not be able to put on a show. We definitely didn't want racers that wanted to be there not be able to be there because they couldn't get tires. And it's just the world we live in. Hopefully, none of us will run into that again, but it was just the reality of the time. So, 34 is another place we're already making plans for next year to go to, and the series would have made its debut there this year, and we'll just have to wait one more year to make it happen. But looking forward to going there in 2023.
Have you ever been there?
I have not. I had never been to Marshalltown, and I've never been to 34 Raceway. Really in Iowa, only places I've been are Knoxville and Independence. So really limited experience there in Iowa. So cross Marshalltown off the list this year. I was hoping to cross 34 off, but again, we'll wait one more year and have a big show.
Then what was your thoughts on the Knoxville Late Model Nationals with it moving to Sunday and everything that happened?
I wasn't there, but man, I hated it for everybody there, and I hated it for the racetrack, and I hated it for the series and the fans. I mean, it's the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. They've been plagued by weather this year, and it's been tough, man. I felt for those guys, and I hated to go that way, and I really hated it for Tyler Bruning. I mean, there again, just like Mississippi Thunder earlier this year, he's a couple of laps away from a career win. And of course, Jonathan Davenport spoiled the party there at Knoxville, but still an entertaining race. I hate that it was on Sunday, and a lot of fans couldn't be there. But that's the nature of our sport. Sometimes weather intervenes, and there's not much you can do about it. So you just got to make the best of a situation and keep on trucking.
And then can you go over the flow? What's the rest of the year look like?
Yeah, like I said, this Thursday we'll have the FK Rod-Ends Tar Heel 50 at Tri-County Racetrack there in Brasstown, North Carolina. And then next Tuesday, October 11th, we'll be at the McCarter family-owned 411 Motor Speedway. It's in Seymour, Tennessee, right on the edge of the Smoky Mountain National Park, right outside of Gatlinburg. And looking forward to that one. We had a great show there last year. Jimmy Owens got the win. And then we'll take a month off, and we'll come back, and maybe we're gonna have an event we're gonna announce this week that's gonna be coming up that we're gonna add, because we lost 34 and we lost Tri-City Speedway there in Illinois. We got one event we're getting ready to add. That's gonna be a big announcement coming up Thursday. But we'll wrap the season up on November 12th, second annual Peach State Classic at the Sonoy Raceway in Sonoy, Georgia. It's $53,053 to win. And fantastic way to wrap up the year. We did the show last year. It wasn't one of our series races. This year it's going to be the championship race. And if whoever wins the title that night, which right now, Brandon Shepard and the Rocket One team, they're in the driver's seat. If you have perfect attendance, you get $75,000 for the title. So right now we're on pace. Bobby Pierce has got perfect attendance. Mike Marlord's got perfect attendance. Ricky Thornton Jr., Tyler Erb. So our champion this year is going to get $75,000, which is really exciting for what's going to end up being an 11-race series. You can't script that much better, and just looking forward to a great finish to the year, and hopefully Mother Nature continues to be a race fan for us.
And then thoughts on the new sprint car series that's doing like you guys are.
Yeah, the Kyle Larson Presents High Limit Series. I was actually at one of their events. We had one. They had one up at Wayne County Speedway the Tuesday of last week before our Atomic event with Castrol Florida Racing Night in America. Went up there, and man, 49 sprint cars in the pit area, unbelievable field, and it freaking rained it out right before hot laps. But I like what they're doing. It was 49 sprint cars and a lot of fresh faces in the pit area. And that night it was $32,000 on the line. And Brian Brown from your area, he was over there. A lot of great drivers. A lot of the NASCAR guys, Casey Kane, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., of course, Larson was there. And, man, just hated to see that race rain out. But I like what they're doing. And, anything that gives these racers more money, I'm all about. So excited to see what they can do in 2023.
We appreciate your time. You always have an open invitation anytime.
Well, absolutely, Marshall. Thank you for having me on. You do a great job with this and really appreciate you invite me on to talk about everything we got going on.
Well, I'll sure be watching Thursday night.
Sounds great, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks. Welcome back, Connor from Always Race Day with the help with the World of Outlaws game. How's it going?
How's it going? Appreciate you having me on, man. Anytime.
Well, the game has been out for over a week. What's your thoughts on it first?
Oh man. I think I said I had a good line on our podcast a couple days ago. I said with how many real world drivers that are on it and how many real racetracks and just an extensive career mode, like you'd be an idiot to complain about it. I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's super hard if you want it super hard. It's hard enough that I'm not beating the difficulty that you can pretty much only run with on a custom setup. So, because I haven't dialed in any setups on here. I tried to a little bit, but my issue is I got to write it down because I'll get the car going faster and then eventually I'll make one too many and it'll start slowing down and I got to figure out how to go back.
The one touch I like is if you get to the A main, the national anthem. You haven't.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I wish they would do like a 4 wide theatrical kind of thing for the Outlaws, but there's so many little things that it's like, well, if I was doing one and I had unlimited time and unlimited resources, here's what I'd do. But I understand they don't. I think they knocked it out of the park for what it is, though.
It's a lot better than the Stewart games.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was a big goal from it. I really hate just the people complaining about what isn't in it when there's so much in there. It's like, who said they wouldn't add it down the road? And maybe you bitching so much at them might make them not want to. That's what I said. I said, if you want to, I don't know, make a difference in what they do, maybe support them and talk about how much you love it before you suggest adding something.
One thing I know is Knoxville's a little different.
It's way shorter. That was probably the biggest complaint I'd have is Knoxville's too short. Williams Grove and Port Royal seem too skinny to me. I've never raced a car on either of those tracks, Knoxville either for that one. But when you're 360 times 2 seconds under the track record, there's something off with that. Eldora looks all right to me, but Eldora's been in NASCAR games and stuff, and it's never looked really any much different than that, aside from the old games with the big banking. But
yeah, and then I asked somebody on Lima Land because I thought I was crazy that it used to be higher banked.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
And somebody told me it was at one time.
I still the tracks I haven't been to, I can't accurately look at the banking. Knoxville doesn't even have the berm there.
No, you can run clear to the bottom fence.
Yeah, and that's what Damon was saying. I'm like, what series are you running to the bottom of the fence on? He goes, well, the 305 in the street stock. And I was like, oh, that's why you can run down there. That makes sense now.
Yeah, but then people complain about, oh, this driver wasn't in it. I guess it was optional if you wanted to be in or not.
I haven't gotten a definitive answer on how or why different racers are in the game. There is other stuff that goes into it, I suppose. I would think there's, reasons for not adding some of these guys, but there's also, of course, incentive to buy season passes and stuff like that. So I would say, if you're going to hold out people, I would say the top sprint car guy in Kyle Larson, the top late model guy in Jonathan Davenport, probably two decent names to have.
Yeah. I was surprised on some of the local guys that got in.
Yeah, and I think it's like that's the coolest touch. Like my buddy Ayrton's in the game, and it's like you pull it up and your friends in a video game. Like that's insane, and that's not what I'm judging any reviews off of. But there's like 60 real world sprint car guys alone. And you go into other classes and there's real guys. It's crazy the amount of detail they paid attention to. And some of the real world guys, it's not even their like current paint scheme. I don't know what they sent them. I don't know if that was a different thing here or there, but uh, I love it. I love it for what it is.
The only thing on like 305s, it's mostly the Pennsylvania people that they put in.
Yeah, and I kind of figured that. I mean, I don't know if you could put Knoxville guys under the 305s because that name change too. I don't know if there's like a big deal with that. They make it sound like it's something massive, and I'm like, you couldn't rename the class like 315s or something, dude. Like, it's like this class has Pace Pro in it, and I have people like, did the car you sponsored just win a World of Outlaws race? I'm like, no, no. I wish Eric went on and won a World of Outlaws race, maybe someday, but
Yeah, that class to me, the name doesn't fit.
it's a mouthful because I don't. Do I say Pace Pro, Pace Performance Pro, Pace Pro Performance? At some point it's a tongue twister.
But like, if somebody really wanted to, you can make your driver's car if you wanted to. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I've been saying too. Like Larson's car's easy enough to make. It's plain white. I got the game pulled up right now. I'm just going through different things, looking around at it still. I've been doing the career mode to try to get in the 410s and get my practice in with it because I'm an idiot. I'm too competitive, so I crank the difficulty up. Um, my belief in things, because I was playing up age groups when I was young in hockey, and the only times that I felt I was really getting better was if I was scoring like 5 goals at my current age group, or I was just playing with the older kids. In every game I played with the older kids, I thought I was getting better. So even if you're getting your ass kicked, I thought that would, that equates to greater success in the future and things you learn. The 105 difficulty setting or whatever for AI on here specifically can only run with a custom setup. So I upgraded all my stuff and I'm running like 17th and I'm getting pissed off. I'm like, how in the hell am I supposed to be competing here? Do I need to go take my Adderall and sit here and spend half an hour on a custom setup before I go into every race? And I was at 360s. So I finally became a man and turned it down, turned it down to expert so that I could advance and do stuff with it.
But
No.
like, I made a Wolfgang paint scheme from back in the day, and it's not that hard to do.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is I got into sprint cars like way later than a lot of people. Like everyone I know has been coming to Knoxville for 15 plus years, and I would come like every other year to nationals until like 2016. And then I started getting behind it a lot more when we got this racing site.
Yeah.
And I was able to subscribe to Dirt Vision and everything. And basically, like looking back on stuff, like Steve Kinzer was my favorite, but like that Home Depot scheme that looked like Tony Stewart's, that was really cool. I think Lasowski was driving that one.
Yeah.
I remember Brian Brown's, it wasn't FVP, it was the one before the Super Clean.
Mm-hmm.
They sponsored the Nationals. Like the classic paint schemes I remember are not reminiscent of the classic schemes everyone else goes for.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, if you took your time, you could make a paint scheme, and it gives you all the options too.
Yeah, the only hindrance is that shape and decal thing. Like it only goes to 10 on like one section of the car, but it's nothing stopping you from going to another section and moving the decal. So, or the shape. But you can alter decals in different ways to make different shapes. You just got to be creative with it.
The one track I found the hardest is Wii Sport.
I think a lot of people have been saying that. I'm holding out because I haven't tried the fantasy track that looks like the Brickyard yet. Have you seen that one?
I'm trying to think what track that's.
Let me look up the name of it here. It's not it. Rockberry. So it's shaped like almost like Indianapolis Motor Speedway, except it looks probably like the corners are shorter and it's just a
Yeah.
continuous corner.
I forgot about that track.
Yeah, the fantasy tracks are cool. I'm a big advocate that in hopefully your listeners will come on and make fun of me and bash me. That California sprint car racing is all that's as good as Pennsylvania.
It is.
I think we need to hold it in a higher regard. Like, of course, Williams Grove's in the game. Of course, Port Royal's in the game. It's, Pennsylvania staples. All right, get Chico in there, man. Get Placerville in there. Get Tulare in there. Because those guys produce talent. The last 3, now 4 this year, World of Outlaws champions all came from California. Although it's the same guy, I'll give you that one. But like Brad Sweet, Kyle Larson, Carson Aceto, all of them from California, and we're sitting here talking about how Pennsylvania is really good. Are you kidding me?
But the biggest problem, and the young kids, if you want to get to know the young kids, watch California. No offense to Pennsylvania.
Corey Day's out there,
which he impressed me coming back to the Midwest.
Yeah, he's super good. Of course, that USAC swing in November is really fun to look at because I'll be watching a women's basketball game or a Iowa State men's game and then turn on the USAC race afterwards. Like that's like a fun time of year that's not as crazy as other times. But like I identify that with like USAC, and they don't have many races where I identify this time of year with the USAC show.
And then I know like last weekend I was watched Chico and there was like almost 70 cars.
Yeah, it's super like intriguing. Just everything that's going on there. I want to do a better job next year covering it because it's just so late that sometimes I forget it's on. Sometimes I'm doing something else. And, that part sucks. But
the furthest track they go to in the game, I think's Vegas.
As far as real world?
Yeah.
Are you talking about like distance from Iowa?
No, I'm talking in the game overall. On the West Coast, there's not much.
Oh, yeah. There is, there's nothing besides Vegas that's, I think, even west of us. Fallujah, Texas, Port Royal, Limaland.
We're getting Lucas Oil soon.
Yeah, there's nothing west of Iowa besides Vegas. Some of the fantasy tracks, like someone told me Straight River was supposed to be I-80 in Nebraska, except I feel like Circle Lake looks like it, but then I drove Circle Lake and it doesn't feel like it's big enough to be I-80. So I don't know, but
I don't know. I wish I30 because it's closing would would scan that.
Yeah, and it's tough to, this track's going out of business. We need you to scan it real quick in the next 2 months. Like it's just like I can imagine hearing that as a guy who owns a video game company and being like, what are these people talking about?
But my biggest complaint's the tractor tires every once in a while.
Yeah, it's tough when you hit them. I think I'd probably honestly aim it more at like real life tracks because I hate that they're out there. And the video games just making it realistic,
Yeah. Because at Wii Sport, I always get stuck in turn 4.
I don't have as much of an
high.
issue at Wii Sport because I'm not fast enough where I need to make a move like that. But Limaland and Kokomo, I get into them really easily.
Yeah.
And you're like threading the needle to get around the corner, let alone make those.
But maybe they're going to work on stuff like the season pass. I know the big blocks are coming. Lucas Oil. There's one other track they said.
Peevely.
But maybe they'll listen to people and some complaints. It never hurts.
I think they will. And for the people like concerned about some of it, like I was doing a career mode and Lima Land wasn't downloading right away. And so once it finally downloaded, I was like a few races in, it just adds into the schedule.
Yeah.
So it just adds in automatically. It's super easy. There's people complaining that they haven't gotten Sammy Swindell yet. It's like, just give it time, man. You're paying for the whole calendar year of downloads for free. Or I guess you could pay $10 for every one that they come out with, which I don't know why you'd do.
Or you can buy the season pass if you didn't buy the gold edition for
Right.
like $30.
Yeah.
But for the first game, I was skeptical on, is this going to be the Stewart game again?
Yeah, that's what everyone was asking me about. And I just, it's so much different. I think it's a lot better. It's got real drivers in it. I think that's your biggest like thing that you need in a video game. You need people to get accustomed to seeing these names, and that's how you grow your sport. So
like I looked at 360, even though they're not their real name, Ryan Levitt's in it.
Yeah, even though that's not his real car. But
yeah,
it's still sweet that he's in it.
Tony Ross. Tony Ross said he was playing as himself and got taken out by the other one.
Yeah, the AI cars will go at you if you hit them at all, especially in late models, because you can just clean someone's clock. That's what Damon didn't get. He's like, how many people are you taking out that you're noticing this? And I said, I told you I was playing on a difficulty where my car's not supposed to have the engine to get to these guys normally. You have to have a setup. I didn't realize it for 5 days. I just thought I sucked at the game. I was like, there's no way I'm not getting better.
Yeah, I know. I was driving the sprint car and somebody crashed right in front of me. And that's in the air.
Yeah, that's really fun, like trying to avoid that and stuff. The cautions kind of suck, but the weird thing is like NASCAR games, the new era NASCAR games that I think they kind of bought the company that used to make those.
Yeah.
So the new era NASCAR stuff, like their caution stuff is fucked up too. Like I don't know how easy it is to set up cautions. I remember the old games, like the first one had, the road to Knoxville had cautions. I don't know. I assume 2002 would.
Yeah, they did.
Talk about it. And I haven't played 2002 in a long time, just because I never got that copy. And then they have the 07 one, the Road to Eldora, or 08, 09, whenever that was. That one like doesn't have cautions. So it's, I don't know how hard it is to add in or what about it, but
sometimes the caution triggers too quick.
It's just weird because EA Sports figured out with NASCAR to a T. They never had issues with that. Yeah. So I don't know. It's odd to me that video games, both at EA Sports and elsewhere, haven't advanced more, because of how fast they like grew from 2000 to 2009. And there's like a lull in the middle where every sport kind of just stopped making video games. And, I'm a nerd about it. I love playing these and, just seeing like a little taste of what these guys go through. And I think it's important for your sport to have one. So people that I'd rather go play a 2002, a PS2 game, PS1 game. It's like, okay, like that's completely fine This is for the kids that are 8 years old now that weren't alive in 2002. You know.
Some of the videos get a little like they were told they had to do it now.
Yeah, I wish as if I was a driver, I know long ways from it, right? But and I'm told that this is going to be on the video game. I don't want to look like I have a gun held to my head. Like I wish they would tell them you got to be more enthusiastic. I don't know if they did that like 5 minutes before a driver's meeting or what the issue was with it, but yeah, some of the guys, it was like, man, what are you? Do they have a gun behind the camera? Like, is that what's going on here? But I
other
thought
thing
when
I
it
wish,
works, like that's a nice touch too.
yeah,
The whole intro to career mode was cool. I kind of wish like FIFA has a really cool career mode, and it like has you sitting in your room and like, do you want to go to this tryout and blah blah blah. I wish they do some like scenes and stuff like that. There's an old Monster Jam game I played back in the day that did stuff like that too. Those are like kind of the really like grabs you in and takes you along for the story, and you can still have it like free roam wherever. Just have them, assigned to a different class. Like you're about to make your Outlaws debut. But again, this is stuff I'd do if I had limited time, resources, and money.
but I think it's a good start for this game, and then
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
we might get another one.
And that's what like the NHRA game. The fans. Now I'm far less versed in the NHRA fan demographic, but the few people I follow that talk about NHRA, it was a great base game, and it's something they can build off of. The World of Outlaws game kicks that game's ass out the window as far as a foundation to build off of. Sorry if I'm cussing too much tonight. I'm too
No,
excited.
that's fine.
But like as far as a base thing to go off of right now, like for what, and when I'm saying for what it is, I'm assuming it is a base foundation with how many people I've seen playing it on Facebook and all these groups and stuff on Twitter, all these big names tweeting about playing it. Like it is perfect for what it is right now. It is as good as it could be, I think.
Yeah, David Gravel said he played it and just he's not a video game person.
Oh no, he's probably like me. He probably turned it all the way up to advanced. I gotta warn. We gotta get a PSA out that you can't beat the advanced mode without a custom setup. I could do it. I got 10th in because when I got the game, I did one super late model race. I did one 410 Outlaws race. I got 23rd in the Outlaws race. I got 10th in the late model. And I'm texting my buddy about it. I just said, goes to show you, man, late models are way easier. He's a big late model fan, so I had to give him shit about it.
Yeah.
I thought. Go ahead.
The first one I just played was just to see before I got in career was one of the just to see the Outlaws, just to see what they look like.
Yeah, and I just wanted to play Knoxville and play a couple of tracks that I've been to and compare them to the things I've seen. I do wish I got to see how they are with the when I get into the top series, but I really hope that it's not like the 360s and you got the same 6 cars finishing 1 through 6th. Like I hope it's not tiered like that overall, but you know what I mean.
I don't, but somebody could go that play the game might go to race now.
Yeah, I think that will definitely be it. That's a big like pro as far as having a game and doing it goes. So I'm really excited for that. I don't know if you heard on the Knoxville podcast that rumor with second Outlaw show is getting some legs.
Yeah, I've heard that as a rumor, big rumor.
I hope so. It's it should be the most famous track on the schedule. I think it is for sure, and I think a second Outlaw show would be really good for that track.
Yeah, back in the day, this was in the like 90s. They had 5 outlet shows before the Nationals.
Really?
one in the spring, two in the spring, two in July, and then they have one at the Marion County Fair.
Yeah, and I don't think you need that many, but I do like what it is right now.
Yeah. It's just gives the teams one more time before nationals. That's what they need.
Yeah.
I don't know of anything else.
No, I think we hit on pretty much everything. I had trying to think the only thing I didn't mention, but I forget what it was.
Oh, online. I forgot.
I heard it's just a wreck fest. I haven't played online yet.
Some people it is. It depends who you race.
Yeah, that's why
That's general.
Getting friends together and do a race together and do that instead. I think it's really difficult for someone to go to online and get the exact, like, okay, here's where this car is at, but it sounds like at the very least they're going, the cars hitting each other on purpose.
Yeah.
So that's at least like good for online timing. Now you want, I guess you want a online experience that's going to be like you can race against people and not get taken out by them, but at least it's not glitchy in where their cars are at and where yours is.
No. But that's the only complaint on that's a general online thing.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, you can't ask for much more than what you got here. I'm very excited.
I gave the game at least a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, Damon asked me what I would give it out of 10, and I said 12 and a half. I think I said 11 and a half. I said 12,
Yeah.
12 if they had the stuff I was talking about.
But it's a good start. We had because the last World of Outlaws game was a total bomb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good that it's a company that cares about their product and has it out there for a reason. I hope they don't get discouraged, but I know they get a lot of shit from their iRacing dirt stuff anyways. So
yeah.
In the same vein, it's like, hey, you're lucky you have it. You're lucky these cars are that realistic to drive. So might as well just do it.
Yep. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, man.
All right. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye. Like I mentioned earlier, Bill Wright's here to talk Sprint Invaders season, Knoxville, little I30. How's it going, Bill?
Good, Marshall. How much time do we have if we're talking about all that stuff?
Plenty of time.
What do you want to talk about first?
The local stuff. The Sprint Invaders in Knoxville first.
Sprint Invaders was a really good season. Unfortunately, we had a few rainouts. It seemed most of those were at 34 Raceway, of course, and Cody Worley ended up winning the championship. So it was good for Cody. That's his second time that he's won that. Unfortunately, Ryan Jamison missed the last night. He had some problems at the Fall Hall in Burlington, and he missed the last night at Quincy. But Cody did a good job, and I think Jamie Ball ended up second, didn't he? So I think he did. So a good season for Jamie, and I know it's the last year for Kevin Hetrick to field it and the Hetrick family to field a team. At least that's what they've said. So, we want to honor them too, and we honored Brian. Finally got to honor Brian Hetrick at the Fall Hall there, which we usually do earlier in the year at 34. So, but it was a really good year. I think the banquet's coming up November 12th down in Burlington. So if anybody wants to go down, just look for that on the Facebook page or the website, and we'll get some announcements out about that too. But I know Jerry Glasgow and the folks there are already putting together next year's schedule. So should be another good year. Of course, our leading feature winner was Chase Randall this year, and we thought he was going to grab another one, his 7th at Quincy, but he ended up getting passed by Garrett Williamson. So we didn't see that happen at all this year, him getting passed. with the Sprint Invaders. But he had a great year too, and so yeah, it was another fun year with the Sprint Invaders.
Are they talking about work area rule?
There has been some talk about, I believe, especially the fall haul race and how they'll maybe make that, because I think everybody, with the series understands that people come to see these drivers race. They don't want to see them get a flat tire and just be done. And that night we just had a lot of weird things happen, and it left a bad taste in people's mouths. So they are talking about what they can do there.
Watching it, Jamie Ball really needed a new front wing.
Yeah. There were a lot of things there, and that's a safety factor too. That you got to think about. So I think at least with that fall haul, the spirit of the rule is we don't want. We want to save the team's money. And if we're waiting all the time and they're burning more fuel, waiting for other drivers, or if those drivers, they're putting a new tire on or things like that. It's been a money saving things in the past, but I think they're gonna talk about what they can do, especially at that race in September.
Because it's a big money race.
It's a big money race, and a lot of different drivers come in, and 34 Raceway has a really nice facility there where they can work it out somehow. So.
Yeah, that's my only biggest complaint was.
Yep. And to answer your question, even the day after, I know they were talking about what they could do different with that situation. So.
Because it's the only series I know that doesn't have one.
Yeah. Other than the Boone Super Nationals, you spend once you're done, that sort of thing. There are some races out there, but we're not used to seeing that. It's kind of refreshing in a way, but in another way, like the situation we had there, it was a real pain for a lot of drivers, and I think it left a bad taste in some of their mouths, and understandably so.
And then the lights issue.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. They got overheated or something.
Or too much excitement on track.
I don't know. The guy announcing there had a lot of downtime. It was a tough night to announce. I don't know who that was. But that was tough. So.
Jokingly, we know who they announced.
Well, it might have been me, yeah. But it was, that made it a hard night, and it ended up being a really good race, a really good show for the drivers for the most part, unless they had problems, and Chase Randall ended up walking away with most of the cash, but it's a really good paying race through the field, and Nick Easton and also Matt Rogerson, they really put the sponsorships together, so they need
and especially when you got guys from all over.
Yeah, guys from all over. I mean, Devin Dobie was there from Ohio, and of course a lot of the Knoxville regulars came down. We had Terry McCarl there, and there's just a number of drivers that you don't usually see with the series. So
you might see them once or twice a year.
Yep. With that series anyway. Yeah. Yep.
And then Knoxville.
Yeah, Knoxville. I mean, Knoxville was a great season overall. It was competitive down to the last weekend for all three classes. And when's the last time we could say that? It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
But at the same time, the people who were leading coming in really took care of business. Brian won his feature in the 410s, Brian Brown, and then Terry McCarl ended up winning his feature, and in the pro class, Mike Mayberry ended up finishing well. So it was good to see Mike win his first ever title, and of course that's the first 360 title that Terry's ever won. He's never run the 360s before. So it was kind of a neat year, and I think there's a lot of fun things to look forward to next year with Knoxville.
Especially the rumor I'm hearing.
You're hearing rumors?
Yes.
What's that?
Second date for the Outlaws.
Well, that's
April.
I've heard that rumor too. It might be in April. I've heard that too. So, that time of year, weather's always iffy, but hopefully it's good weather and they can get that in. So.
But this was a fun, competitive season.
Very competitive and a lot of good races. The Knoxville Nationals. 10 years or 5 years ago, even everybody was booing Donnie Schatz, and now he gets more cheers than boos because he came back and there's a lot of emotion behind it for him with his father passing a few weeks before that, and the first Nationals for him without his father, and it was just a good race. It was a good race with a lot lot of people. You had a local on the pole and Austin McCarl, and there was just a lot of drama surrounding the whole week, and it was a good week of racing. You had the Shark teammates winning Wednesday and Thursday, and Jacob winning and not locking in, was kind of a weird thing that's never happened. Logan, I'm sorry. Yeah. Logan was the one who didn't lock in, and that's a weird thing that's never happened. And, of course, Jacob making the feature. And, of course, they both eventually did. But, that was it was really a dramatic Nationals and, again, a sellout. So I think with Jason Reed on board as general manager, I think that's going to be very, very good for the track. There's going to be a lot of good vision there that maybe we haven't had in a while. So to have someone there every day as a general manager is going to be a great deal.
And then you went to I30 last weekend for the finale.
I did go to the last race there. I wanted to go down there and support the Clay family and especially Tracy. And, there for years and years I went down there every year to the Short Track Nationals. So it'd been, I think, 4 years since I've been down there. So I wanted to be sure to get down there for the last race. And again, the track was great every night. And you haven't always been able to say that about the Short Track Nationals. One night it might be heavy and one night it might be rubber down, but it was good racing all the way through. Of course, you can probably tell me better, but high 80s in car count. I think 89 was the high night, and
good car count because a lot of guys wanted to be there. And
good cars, a lot of cars wanted to be there. If there wasn't a big show at I-80 here, you probably might have had a half a dozen more down there, racing. So, so it was a fitting send off for that track, and we hate to see it go, but at the same time we can't blame people who want to retire and sell their real estate. So it's kind of tough for the rest of us. That's why I like publicly owned tracks like Knoxville, because you don't have a private person that's going to retire someday and needs to sell it. So, it was the Clay family. They really love racing. And, we made sure we brought back a T-shirt and some dirt here to the museum from the weekend. And if people come into the museum, they can see some remembrances, because we always want to remember that place. Next one up for us is I-80 Speedway. And that Outlaws will be coming, the second weekend in October here in a couple weeks, right? A week from Friday. Tomorrow, a week from tomorrow. Just 8 days now, and they'll be coming to I-80, and that track's rumors are it's sold as well, and they've announced as much. And then of course we want to be there. I was at Grandview in July, not knowing that it would be the last time I'd be there probably, and that's probably going to be sold as well. And I even hear rumors about Devil's Bowl. So these places are really memorable, made a lot of history at these places, and it's just sad to see them go. And you hope that other tracks around the area can kind of pick up the business that they are leaving behind.
I know Flow TV did not want to shut the screen off Saturday night real bad. They stayed for like an hour just watching people.
Yeah, and there were people, and from what I heard, there were people all night long there. That was not me. I had to get to sleep and get back here, but. It is definitely very special, those people in that area. The next, real serious sprint car track's a couple hours away in West Memphis, so, it's kind of tough. It'd be like if, a track around here closed and the closest place was Burlington, or the closest place was, over at I-80 or whatever. It's just a long way for a local person to tow with the price of fuel and everything like that. To do that every week is a big commitment. So, I would know it was a big deal, especially for the local people in Little Rock there.
And it was a great crowd.
Oh my gosh. I thought for sure they'd stop selling tickets, because there wasn't any way you could fit anybody else in there, and the line was still a half a mile long to get in. So it was really crazy. I certainly have never, they said it was a record, and I certainly have never seen that many people at that track. So maybe they were turning them towards the pits. I know the pits were full too, but it's like I said, it's a great tribute to the Clay family, and they deserve that for all they've done for the sport.
Is there a chance they'll be in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, absolutely. I think so. I think there's a chance. Tracy as a promoter, she's been our promoter of the year in the North American sprint pole a number of times, and I think there's definitely a chance for that. And our voting committee, I think, would consider them. Of course, that's up to the people. Our 72 voters across the country. So,
then thoughts about Williams Grove? Do you have any thoughts of the 10-lap race at Williams Grove?
I'm going to be honest with you, Marshall. I didn't know that rule. I know there's been precedent for it, but I guess I didn't pay attention. But yeah, they ended after 10 laps, and most places that I'm around, including Knoxville, you have to be at the halfway point to consider it a full show, full feature.
Normally, weekly here would be lap 10.
Right. It would be if it's a 20-lap race. But I really don't. I mean, if that's the rule, that's the rule. I'm not complaining about it or anything. I didn't know about the rule. So and I really don't have an opinion either way. It's just, whatever you think, I guess. What are your thoughts?
I knew the rain was coming, so
yeah.
But Brett Morks, did you see that?
Well, yeah.
Taking out the.
I did see that some of the drivers had questioned whether they should be racing with the rain the way it was, and we saw that here in Knoxville at the Nationals before, and we've seen it. I saw it at Deer Creek one time when they probably canceled a little late. Brian Brown got upside down there, but it's a hard call. It's nothing any of us want to do is try to run a track and make those kinds of decisions. So it's nothing we have to do, but so I don't usually have too big an opinion either way about those things. As I know it's a hard job.
Like, I didn't know the rule either until they explained it.
Yeah, I didn't either. And apparently there's been a couple of other times. I saw Johnny Gibson posted a couple other times it's happened. So and I didn't remember those times. So.
And then, do you have any comments on the following because you announced about Rick Esselman?
I knew Rick a little bit, and obviously he'd been here to do the late model nationals a time or two, and I got to know him a little bit. I got to see him at Davenport earlier this year when the Extreme Midgets were there with the World Outlaw late models, and I talked to him a little bit. So I can't say we were really good friends, but I know him, and I just know that people need to, we as a country, I think we do a pretty good job focusing more with our mental health now than we used to do. But I don't think we can ever do enough, And I think, since you're on the internet, I think people who get out there and just post things, opinions, and they don't think about who they're affecting. I think that I'm not saying that's what happened to Rick, but I'm just saying. You need to think about what you're saying out there and how it might affect people and their feelings. Posting things that aren't facts or posting opinions and things like that. So, I'm really sad for his family, his son and the rest of his family, because you never want to see a loved one in that situation. So.
And it's a big loss for the Outlaws because it's their main voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be like taking Johnny Gibson away from us.
Same deal. Yep, same thing. And Rick's even been along probably 10 years longer than Johnny Gibson even. So, and he's in the Dirt Late Model Hall of Fame just like Johnny's in the Sprint Car Hall of Fame. So it's a huge loss for the late model community and racing in general. So, yeah. Anything else you can think of?
Are you any other trips you're going on to before?
Yes, I plan to go to the I-80 race, like I said, and hopefully Lakeside. And then my wife and I are headed to Paris. I told my wife I'm taking her to Paris in November. She just doesn't know it's California yet. So we're going to go to the Paris Oval Nationals.
That might be another track.
Well, they actually sued the neighboring water management system. So that's an interesting thing because it's going to take some of their parking.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take some of their parking away, and they don't want that to happen, and they weren't notified or whatever. I don't know the whole details of it, but I'll find out when I get out there. But I'm looking forward to that because I've never been to Paris before. So we're going to give some awards away there, and we're looking forward to that. So it'll be fun, and it'll be fun to kind of end the season with that. Usually, and everybody downstairs at the Hall of Fame, they'll all go to the World Finals, and I usually do too. But this year I want to get out to Paris and just let the people know about the museum out there and the Hall of Fame and things, and just remind them, that we're here for them and things like that. So I think it's important we do things like that and do some outreach in the sport. as we get out. So.
And what's the next plans for here?
Next year we're going to do the track tribute to Williams Grove. So we've already got most of our cars lined up for that, and so that's what I go to work on now. People ask me what I do in the winter. That's my busiest time for the museum, is to get everything lined up. So, by the time we're done with Paris, we got PRI in December, we have the Chili Bowl in January, and then race season really starts in February in Florida. So, there's never really any rest, but this is the time of year that we have to get down and dirty and get busy with getting the cars in the museum flipped over for the next year. So.
And plus, with Williams Grove, there's a lot of video.
A lot of video, yep. There'll be a lot of videos available. There's a lot of history there. We're fortunate to have here the first car that won at Williams Grove every single day, which is kind of cool. And if you ask a posse member, where that car came from, they have to say it's from Iowa. The car from Iowa won the first race at Williams Grove. The driver was from Pennsylvania, Tommy Hintershitz, but the car owner was from Davenport.
Is it the 15 car race?
Yes, the Gerber car. Yeah,
that's what I'm just
guessing.
Yep,
the Gerber 15. Yeah, and we also have the truck and the trailer that pulled it from Davenport all the way out there. So that's a pretty neat deal too.
Can you give us a hint on car? It's going to be a mixture, probably.
Yeah, we're still working on some of the cars. We're trying to hit every decade, with significant cars. So I don't want to give that away yet. But just keep posted. You got with that stuff, you got to finalize. I've talked to some of the owners and they said okay, and some of them, I've talked to people who've talked to them who said it was okay. So I still got to do some groundwork.
So a lot of dirt station videos.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's over the history of Williams Grove, there's a lot.
So Bruce, you'll get to hear a lot of Bruce Ellis.
So we'll hit our archives pretty hard with videos that have been donated to us over the years. In the past year, all of Greg Stevens' videos have come to us. So any national opens or anything sanctioned by the Outlaws at Williams Grove will be in our possession. In the last 35 years or so. So. That's pretty exciting, and then you go back further. We have video. If people remember the video, the history of Williams Grove Speedway, we have videos from the early days where you saw Tommy Hintershitz throwing rooster tails. So we'll look for a lot of that. Our partners at the Eastern Museum out in Pennsylvania will help us a lot with memorabilia and items like that. We're hoping, in addition to what we have here. So. They have a barn. They have a sign that Lynn Paxton found in a barn one time. That was a road sign. I know they're not going to lend that to us. I wish they would, but that's kind of a permanent fixture at their museum out there. But it's going to be fun. I think people will get to see some cars that haven't been here before, and some cars that nobody has seen on display before, which is kind of neat. And they'll also see some very famous. Historical cars from the 30s and 40s that they might have seen for the first time, or just cars that they remember.
So I'm just thinking of some of the cars, like maybe Old Blue come.
Well, I haven't talked to them about Old Blue.
I just know it's been here one time, but it wasn't in the museum.
Yes,
it was at Nationals.
Ike Weichert brought it.
Yeah.
That's Bob's son. And he brought it, and they do a lot with Old Blue out there at the Weichert Memorial, so it's kind of hard to get them to give it to us for a year or two. But you never know what you'll see here. I will say we do have a Weichert's car lined up, but it's not necessarily that one. So it's from Pennsylvania, though. So I'll let you keep guessing.
I don't know my Weichert's as well.
Well,
Van May's car, maybe.
Well, that would be awesome. I haven't talked to Van about that. He knows it's coming here at some point. We just have to figure out when it's going to be. I've talked to him about that. But and it won the National Open, his car, so you never know. But the Weichert's car, there's a guy who set a record for wins in a season.
Wolfgang.
Yes, yeah. It might be one of those from the mid '80s there. So that might be one of our cars.
And is the Zemco car going to stay?
I don't know about the Zemco. That's a Syracuse car.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really have a whole lot to do with Williams Grove. We do have Greg Hodnett's car that he won the 2018 track championship with. Of course, he's a many-time track champion at Williams Grove. So, but the car that he drove there in 2018 is what we would have here. So we'll see if that's part of the exhibit or not. There's a lot of cars that I'm trying to line up. So I want some new ones to be in that we haven't seen in a while at least, or have never seen. So we'll see. A lot of Hall of Famers will be represented, though. So.
Lynn Paxton's car.
Maybe one of Lynn's cars, yeah.
But she's getting honored this weekend.
Yes, he is at Port Royal. I saw. Yes, very good. He won the first Outlaw Tilt there, I believe, in '79 is what it said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lynn told me he's credited with a lot of Outlaw wins in '78, but he said the Outlaws weren't really there because in '78 any race that paid over $2,000 was considered an Outlaw show, and they could have 3 races on the same night. If they all paid $2,000, they'd consider it an Outlaw show the first year. So
that happened in the '80s too.
Did it?
I think Mark Schaefer should have an Outlaw win, but doesn't.
Well, yeah, that was a special deal here. I think there was a race. Am I right, at Devil's Bowl?
Yes.
The same night, and
They split half.
I think Ted Johnson had promised Cappy an Outlaw show or something like that, and the wires got crossed, and some of the Outlaws were here and some of them were in Devil's Bowl. I don't think that was a regular occurrence. I think that was just a mistake.
But that's, I'm just saying, the other time that.
Yeah. But I think that first year, '78, is when, and then '79 they really said this is the Outlaw schedule. So '78 was kind of scattered a little bit, we have Steve's car here right now, Steve Kinzer's, that he won the championship with that year. So it's pretty neat to have that right now too. But
are you going to have maybe the 50th anniversary race from Strasser video?
That could be. That could be one of the videos.
I've seen it on the internet.
Usually we for somebody to sit and watch our videos, they'd be here several hours, and usually we put several races back to back on our 3 TVs down there.
Yeah.
And so depending on when you're coming through, you might see something different, but the theater will probably be active too with a lot of Williams Grove stuff. We're getting some new equipment for the theater where you can pick the race you want to watch. And the Marion County Community Coalition gave us a grant for that. So that'll be something that hopefully we'll have installed here by the beginning of the new year. I'm hoping so. It's just a matter of getting the parts and equipment and all that lined up and installed. So
I don't know anything else.
Okay.
Appreciate
all right. It's always
your
good.
time.
It's always good talking to you, Marshall.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Thanks for everybody that participated in the show. And thank you for always tuning in. This has been another edition of the Dirt Racing Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Dirt Racing Podcast with Marshall Hain. Follow us on Twitter at Dirt_podcast or on Facebook at the Dirt Racing Podcast.